All right, it's the morning after the Mavericks fall down 3-0 in the NBA Finals. Harrison Graham, Jeffrey Cooperstein here on Dallas Mavericks Today. We're going to react to Brian Windhorst's strong comments on Luka Doncic last night, and plus tell you why the Mavericks really lost Game 3, unlike what the lazy national media is saying. I want to hear from you guys first. Is the season over? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Obviously, no team has ever come down from 3-0 to win an NBA series. Give us your thoughts down in the comments. Coop, Brian Windhorst has decided he's more than just an NBA reporter at this point. He's going in on players, and I didn't really like the way he did it.
I had to take the night to collect my thoughts on this because I thought he was just so out of pocket and out of line. And even now, sitting here at almost noon the next day, I still think that he was extremely out of line with what he said, and on top of being extremely wrong. So first, let's go through what he said, and then we can both kind of just dissect it and go from there.
Yeah, Wendy on SVP last night saying, I'm standing here in the Mavericks tunnel. Over there is the Celtics tunnel. That's where the winners are. If Luka is ever going to be a winner coming out of this tunnel here, he's going to have to use what happened in this finals as a learning experience. His defensive performance is unacceptable. He's a hole on the court. The Celtics are attacking him. They are ahead in this series because they've attacked him defensively, and you've got a situation here where Luka is complaining about the officiating. They have begged him. They have talked with him. They have pleaded with him. He's costing his team because of how he treats the officials. His performance in this game is unacceptable, and the reason why the Mavericks are not going to win.
My initial reaction, what did Luka do to Windhorst? Was there some scoop where Luka just didn't give him the time of day, or Windhorst was asking him a question and Luka didn't want to answer? Windhorst clearly has something personal against Luka because he threw out things in that statement that were just completely untrue and unfounded. If you think that Luka Doncic is the reason the Mavericks aren't going to win this series, you might be on drugs. I'm sorry. It is just absurd to even consider that as a factor.
Yeah, look, are there sprinkles of truth to what he said in terms of bitching at the officials too much? Yeah, he's done that his whole career, man.
We know that.
Do I think it was probably a little much last night? Yeah. And
Agreed.
I'm not going to sit here and act like Luka has been a lockdown defender this series,
no.
But now you've got this screenshot going around of 3 of the 4 playoff series where Luka's been blown by the most of any player in the last 10 years. Like, if you've watched this playoff run closely, Luka more often than not has defended at a high level. Now,
exactly.
Look, the last 2 games haven't been great. I think this is a tough matchup for him because they got several guys who are quick, and he's gotten stuck with some tough matchups.
And we can get into the whole Luka thing later, and I even said this on Twitter last night. I disagree with how Luka handled last night, from the foul to the press conference and all that, but we'll talk about that in just a second. I just wanted to dissect exactly where Wendy was wrong. Calling him a hole on defense against the Celtics is just inaccurate. He has not been a hole. Has he been good on defense? Probably not. I would say the injuries have really gotten to him, and I would say that I just don't think it's fair to say he's a complete hole. I don't think the Celtics are hunting him on every possession. I didn't see it that way.
No, I agree with you in that. Do I think he defended better earlier in the playoffs?
Yeah,
probably.
absolutely he did.
I don't think the reason the Mavericks are down 3-0 is because Luka has gotten hunted defensively.
No, they're not. They are not ahead in the series because they attacked him on every possession. And this is the most important one. His performance is absolutely 100% not the reason why the Mavericks are going to lose.
Windhorst must have not remembered that Jason Kidd, which I thought this is a questionable move at best, takes Luka out in the first quarter, 6.5 minutes into the game, when the Mavs are up 13, and Boston instantly goes on a 7-0 run to cut it to 6, has to take him out, take a timeout and put Luka back into the game. When Luka is out of the game, they can't function.
No.
Now, if you want to say that Josh Green gives them slightly better defense than Luka, okay, maybe that's true. But, like, Luka last night was a +9. No one else was plus and plus-minus. And I think plus-minus can get overplayed a little bit. But I think if you watch that game last night, that bears out pretty well. That early substitution, he checks out, Mavs get blitzed. He fouls out with 4.5 minutes left. We'll talk about that later. they can't continue their run. Like, it's not a coincidence that when he's on the bench, they're nowhere near the same caliber of team. And I know the general response will be like, duh, he's a star. But it's like, but then don't go on national television and say his defense and complaining is the sole reason why you're losing. Does it help? Probably not, but stop making this, let me finish here. Stop making this series about Luka Doncic. This series is pretty simple. The Celtics have more volume of quality players that are consistently contributing than the Dallas Mavericks do. Period. Point blank. Could Luka play a little better? Yeah, we've seen him play better than this. But that's not the difference, man. Like, the Celtics are a far better team. I downplayed how good they were coming into the series. I was wrong. I have no problem admitting I'm wrong. I'm not going to go out here and say, yeah, Luka has just stunk up the joint, and that's why they're losing the series. Wendy, they're not down 3-0 because of Luka. Kyrie's played one good game out of 3, and now you're making the whole series about Luka Doncic? I just think it's late. I think it's lazy. I think it's jumping on a storyline where the guy fouls out for the first time in his playoff career and looking to get people like us to talk about it. So congratulations, it's worked. But I think it's BS, and to not call the guy a winner, yeah, like he's not going to have a championship yet, but the guy's been to 2 conference finals. He beat the number 1 seed this year. He took down the team that took down the defending champs in 5 games. And yeah, they've run into a better team, and they might get swept, which isn't great. But they're in the fucking finals. It's like, Nick Wright says this all the time, Coop, and I don't always agree with him. LeBron actually benefits from a national narrative when he doesn't make the finals. Which, think about how stupid that is.
No, it's absurd. It's
better to lose in the finals than in the first or second round,
exactly.
People. I don't know how that's hard to comprehend.
And the whole thing with Windhorst, with me, that I just can't stand is, you're a reporter, dude. You're supposed to be a hot take machine. You're just supposed to report what's going on around the league. I don't know, he must have something personal against Luka, maybe against the Mavs, I don't know.
That or ESPN was like,
fire it off.
A bomb. I don't know. That was.
But this is why I just can't listen to the national media when it comes to the Mavericks, because there are just no logical or rational takes when it comes to them, especially from people who haven't watched them throughout the entire season. Brian Windhorst this is generous, maybe watch 10 Mavericks games all year. I doubt it's even that much. He clearly just saw something and they wanted to run with the storyline to make headlines. And he was on First Take today talking about it, so it clearly worked. But I just can't stand it, man. And I can't stand when people just have these false entire narratives around Luka that don't exist. Like the fact, saying he doesn't play defense, wrong. Saying he's the reason they lost, wrong. It's just all wrong and it's all bullshit. And I'm honestly just tired of listening to what the national media has to say.
Every single Mavericks player, even Luka included to an extent because of how great he is, but especially with the other players, has played worse this series than any other series.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a chance as an underdog if that happens. Let's make this about Luka Doncic. Okay, that's a well thought out take.
Brian Windhorst doesn't watch the games, but we do. I was just doing the quick math here. Out of the 102 games the Mavericks have played, regular season and playoffs, I think I've watched 100 games. So I watch all the games.
Wendy probably hasn't watched 100 games in the last decade.
Harrison watches most of the games as well, so be sure to subscribe to the channel because we actually watch the games, so we're giving you real coverage from real Mavs fans who actually know what's going on around this team. So please be sure to hit that subscribe button. We appreciate all the over 2,000 people who have joined us during this playoff run. Hopefully we get another game, but if this is the end, we do greatly appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah, hit that sub button. And I do want to say this too, Coop. I don't want this to come off as we're babying Luka Doncic.
No.
That's not the case.
That's my entire next point. I disagree with how he handled the 6th foul and the press conference. It was a dumb basketball decision for him to go into Jaylen Brown. It was a clear foul. The Mavericks obviously had to challenge because on the off chance that they get an overturn, they get to keep Luka in the game. But it was a stupid play by him, and him in the press conference saying, instead of saying, I just wasn't good enough, he was complaining about the refs. And I don't like that because
the emotions got to him last night.
At the end of the day, it was his fault. And here's exactly what he said in the press conference. He said, 6 fouls in the NBA Finals? Come on, man. Be better than that. Well, how about you be better? How about you not take that dumb foul? Let Jaylen Brown go by you and take the 2 points. It's okay. It's still a 5-point game, and you're in it. I don't like the way he handled it, but I thought the way Windhorst handled it was even worse.
Yeah, and Windhorst is also acting like he's acting like game 2, what Luka said never happened. After the game, which, by the way, Luka was the only player that showed up in game 2.
Yes, of course.
Let's not forget that. After the game, Luka said, "This one's on me." Guy was the only one. He had a 32-point triple-double. It's on me. Last night didn't handle it well, no question about it. I do think the emotions got to Luka a little bit last night. But to make that the narrative of the series of why they're down 3-0,
it's just insane.
It's just stupid.
It's reactionary, and it's frankly dumb. And I've never really have liked Brian Windhorst as a reporter, but ever since he got cut out of LeBron's circle, he doesn't really provide any value. So I really don't respect what he said, frankly, or anything he has to say about the Mavericks.
What do you guys think? Was Wendy right or wrong about Luka? R for right, W for wrong. We clearly think he was wrong. Doesn't mean there weren't tiny shreds of truth in his statement, but to make it a declarative fact that Luka's the reason they're down 3-0 in the series is just insane. Yeah, let's play more Tim Hardaway Jr. Maybe that'll fix things. Which, hey, by the way, a couple of you guys messaged me and Coop on Twitter. We did say give Tim a look.
We didn't say play him 19 minutes.
That does not mean play him 20 minutes when he can't make a shot. He has not made a shot since May 18th. Like
that is actually crazy.
That is unbelievable. I mean, Jace, I do think this, Coop, and I know you got your reasons coming up for why they lost Game 3. I'm not going to be here like Chugs is on the watch party last night. Oh, I still think they should fire Kid. I'm not saying that. He did some pretty dumb shit last night, though. You are rolling early, and you take Luka out. Dumbass decision. You need to step on their throats and try to get that lead up as much as you can. Like we mentioned earlier, instant 7-0 run from Boston. And then he goes to a lineup in the third quarter of Maxi Kleber, Tim Hardaway Jr., and I believe
Josh
Green with Kyrie and Gafford. Those three players cannot play on the court at the same time.
I tweeted that. That
was asinine.
That was an ignorant lineup to play. I mean, no, Kid had a bad night, man. There's no two ways about it.
I get he's searching for answers, but those three together.
I thought his rotations were extremely questionable. I thought that he didn't really have a flow of the game. I didn't like how Kid coached the game last night. Absolutely. I mean, giving Hardaway 19 minutes is just insane. And I know it would have ended up being closer to 14 if Luka didn't foul out, but even still, man, I mean, 14 was probably 10 minutes too much. Once he misses the first two shots, he's done. Yeah, he needs to be over with, out of the rotation. But Kid tried to stick with them to see if they could find something. It clearly didn't work. But here's the reasons why I think they lost the game. It was the run late in the third quarter, early in the fourth, that they ultimately lost when the Celtics went up 21.
They continue to fail to limit the Celtics runs. In all three games, they've had at least one, if not two, not just standard, 12-4 runs, massive runs of 12-plus points in terms of point differential. It's just been a killer, man.
20-5 run there, spanning into early in the fourth quarter, and it basically was the end of the game there. 3 points made. The Celtics made 17 3-pointers. The Mavericks made 9. Do the math. What's 8 times 3? 24.
They've gotten killed on the perimeter.
There you go.
There's no doubt about it.
Got to be better from 3. You were held under 100 points for the third straight time in this series. I think that's probably the first time all year they've been held under 100 points, 3 straight games. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but I would guess it is. And then you got zero help from the bench minus Derek Lively, who was actually pretty good last night. You're getting nothing from Exum. From Hardy. I actually did think you got something from Exum, but he only played 3 minutes. You're getting nothing from the other guys that are coming off the bench. And at the end of the day, you need somebody to make a shot if you're going to beat this Celtics team, and none of them did.
Yeah, I mean, look, for the first time in this playoff run, the moment has looked too big for Jaden Hardy. I'm not sure you can give him another look in this series. You definitely can't go back to Tim. I would put Exum back in the rotation.
I agree.
It sounds crazy. I know he's been bad in the playoffs, but and look, Boston's better. They're going to win this series. But if you're serious about at least, playing for pride and winning a game, keep trying different things. One thing they still refuse to try, and with Porzingis out, I don't get why you don't, is a heavy small ball lineup. You're getting killed on the 3-point line. Play 5 out, man. Play P.J. Washington at the 5. I think he's strong enough to play with Al Horford. It's not like they're gonna go to a Horford post-up game consistently. At least I don't think they're going to do that. And go with a Luka Kyrie backcourt with Josh Green at the 3, Derek Jones at the 4, who I get has been bad, but maybe in a small ball lineup can give you a little more, and Washington at the 5. I'd give it a look. what do you have to lose, right?
Nothing.
Another game? You've lost 3 in a row, so I would try that, and I would also try Dante Exum, giving him a little bit more run. And I know Gafford was better in game 2. Maybe start Lively, just if nothing else, to just say you tried something to change the start of these games. Even though that's really the one area they've been good the last 2 games, is they've actually started well. But I just don't think you could just keep running the status quo. Hardaway and Hardy, I think, have to be done for the playoffs, and I think you got to try Dante Exum and in a small ball lineup. That's what I would try.
Go try something new. And look, I know no one's ever come back down from 3-0, and we can talk all we want about how it's over, but it's not over yet. Like, you still have to try to go win the game on Friday and extend the series.
Look, we know how good they've been in road game 5s. You win Friday, who knows? Maybe you catch them sleeping a little in game 5, then you never know.
Yeah, if you're the Mavs, you still have to believe, even if we've kind of lost all hope. And we will be live tomorrow for a Game 4 watch party live around 7 p.m. Central Time, so please be sure to join us on the channel. If it's the last game, we'll have fun, put a wrap on the season. Hopefully it's not the last game, and we have a watch party to do on the following Monday, but if not, we'll see you guys tomorrow night, and we'll have a good time.
You got to think that Luka, after hearing this, is going to come out pretty hard, right?
I'd hope so.
Every time he gets doubted, he gets questioned, he tends to kind of silence that, so I would expect him to come out and play hard, play well. If I was Jason Kidd and Kyrie, I'd really try to pull him aside and be like, hey, man, just try to ignore the officials for a game.
Exactly.
Let's just play. We got nothing to lose. And let's see what happens. I mean, you get one and you take it game by game from there. So
exactly.
We'll be live for it all.
You're in 4 one-game series now. I mean, that's kind of how you have to look at it. I know it's an impossible task according to NBA history, 0-156. Why can't the Mavs be the one?
Look, 2 16 seeds have won in the last 7 years in the NCAA tournament. It had never happened before that.
There you go.
Eventually someone has to do it, and why not believe it can be the Mavs?
Starts tomorrow night. Join us live. We'll be here. We appreciate you guys for watching today's show. See you soon.
Peace.